Hey, comics cubers, do you remember the 1995 DC Marvel crossover called DC versus Marvel, where fans voted on the results of five fights? Well, Paul Lamar and I today will take a look at that crossover and also decide if DC and Marvel did that crossover now in 2023, what would the fights be and who would win?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Comics Cube. My name is Paul, and I'm here with Duy and Lamar. And today we are going to talk about DC versus Marvel. Not only are we going to go over the 1995 series that pitted the two companies' flagship characters against each other, but also we're going to come up with our own matches, and we're going to tell you who we think should have actually fought and would fight today if such an event were to occur. So let's begin by, pardon me, talking about what exactly DC versus Marvel was. So in 1995, the two companies came together and in a mini-series that saw Superman fight the Hulk, Storm fight Wonder Woman, Captain America fight Batman, Spider-Man fight Superboy Carnell, and Lobo fight Wolverine, amongst others.
You know what's interesting about that cover that you have?
Yeah.
Okay, there are 13 fights. 5 of them are decided by fans. There are 6 fights on that cover. How did they decide?
Ooh. Oh, there's also Flash and Quicksilver. There we go.
Flash and Quicksilver was not one of the main events. How did they
Was
decide? No, it was not. It was like the fans voted on the 5 fights. The 5 of those on that cover, except for Flash and Quicksilver. Like, how did they decide to put that one in and not like the rest of the others? That's weird.
I think because the Flash is awesome would be my answer to that.
Well, maybe that's debatable lately. I don't know.
Wow.
Well, just to give
Wally West is awesome, people. That is Wally West. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is awesome. Yeah. And just to give a bit of background to what Duy is referring to there, fans were invited to vote who should win on 5 of these battles. And they voted for Superman to beat the Hulk, for Batman to beat Captain America, for Storm to beat Wonder Woman. And were these the other 2?
Those were the other 2. Wolverine beat Lobo.
So Wolverine beat Lobo, and they voted for Spider-Man, Ben Reilly, to beat Superboy Carnell. So, and then there were other fights as well, like Aquaman fought Namor, and Green Lantern fought Silver Surfer, and Shazam, Captain Marvel, fought Thor. So it was a pretty fun event. But you very much get the impression that it was done in a bit of a rush, don't you? Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny because like I feel like calling any comic a cash grab is automatically an insult, but in the case of DC versus Marvel, I think pretty blatant, pretty blatantly a cash grab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This isn't any slight against Ron Mars, Peter David, Dan Jurgens, and Claudio Castellini, because they do a great job, but I imagine they had to run everything they did past several editors from 2 different companies, and they had the whole fan vote thing. I imagine they were drawing and writing things that they didn't know what the outcome to it would be. So that is absolutely no slight against the creators to say it feels like a bit of a rush job.
Well, you know what they did for that. Like, so there's 13 fights. No, yeah, there's 13 fights. What are 13 fights or 11 fights?
There's a bunch of fights.
There were 11 fights. Okay. 6 of them, 6 fights were predetermined, meaning that, they did it. Like Aquaman beat Namor by commanding a whale on him.
That was great.
Elektra beat Catwoman in a 2-page fight that really should have lasted way more than 2 pages. Robin beat Jubilee by tying her up with his batarang. That was Tim Drake Robin. And then they started making out. uh, Silver Surfer beat Green Lantern pretty easily. That's pretty much how it's supposed to go.
By
anyway.
running into each other.
By running into each other. Flash beat Quicksilver because Flash is so much faster than Quicksilver. It's not even close. I don't even. Anyway, and then there's a sixth fight. What was the sixth fight, Paul?
Shazam,
And
Captain
Shazam,
Marvel,
Captain
and
Marvel,
Thor.
and Thor, which Thor won because Thor can control the magic lightning that. Yeah. Anyway, Thor was wearing that little midriff thing that he was wearing in the mid-90s. But what they did for the other 5 fights, the ones that fight decided by fan votes, was that they drew 2 endings to each one. So, for example, like there's one of Captain America getting hit by the Batarang. So theoretically, there is a page where Batman gets hit by the shield. And my favorite one is Wolverine versus Lobo, where they literally fight and then go under a bar and then it's completely blank for like maybe 4 panels and then Wolverine just gets up from the bar. That's it. But yes, it was a bit of a rush. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Very good job to all the creators involved. But
oh yeah, absolutely, they did a great job considering the limitations, and the story is really interesting as well. Like DC and Marvel are represented by these 2 avatars, these 2 godlike beings that look like big transformers, and they represent the 2 universes. And these 2 big transformers are making all the superheroes fight for reasons, and eventually they merge these 2 transformers and form the amalgam universe, which is absolutely brilliant.
Now that is the absolutely best thing that came out of all this.
Yeah, look at that. So just to give you an example, they were collected in 4 books. So you got Super Soldier, Captain America, and Superman smooshed together. You got Dark Claw, Batman and Wolverine. You got Storm and Wonder Woman smooshed together into Amazon. I think you've got Daredevil and Elektra smooshed together with Deathstroke and Catwoman there.
Yes,
which
Cat's
is
Eye.
interesting. Yeah. And then you've also got Superboy, Carnell merged with Spider-Man, Speed Demon, Etrigan, and the Flash merged
and
with
Ghost Rider.
So that's 3 of them. So that's pretty good. Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, that just sounds cool. Steve Trevor as Punisher. I don't know anyone who cares about that.
Well, I like how that Wonder Woman who is with Steve Trevor is just really Diana Prince from DC Comics depowered.
Yeah.
She's not merged with anyone.
And I'm slagging it off, but this comic, Bullets and Bracelets, was drawn by Gary Frank, I believe. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So it was great. Amalgam was brilliant. So you can't fault that, really.
I mean, can you imagine, guys, being the creators on an Amalgam book? Like, how fun would that be? Yeah. Lamar, like pick 2 characters that you would put together.
Let's see. I would put together. We would take Kilowog from Green Lantern, and we are going to combine him with D-Man from the Avengers. Can't go wrong.
K-Man.
Like, I mean, the whole thing is nutty, right? Like, why not just go ahead and go there? Right?
What is he, a big giant purple alien living in the sewers, homeless?
Yes.
Brilliant.
I am for it. We need to make that comment.
Yep.
Hey man, yeah.
Wolverine mask and everything.
Yeah.
But that goes to the whole concept, right? The whole potential of the whole concept is like Lamar just picked 2 characters that they would have absolutely not even shown in the 4 issues of DC versus Marvel. And I think that's part of the disappointment, is that as fans, we want to see, like, you know, the lower tier characters interacting.
Yeah.
I don't want to just see Batman fight Captain America.
And they kind of hint to that in DC versus Marvel. There's like a 2-page spread where you see like I think there's a couple of more pages than 2 pages to be fair, but you just see panels like glimpses, like you see Firestorm and Martian Manhunter fighting Human Torch and the Thing, and you see Jack Knight meeting Doctor Strange, which is incredible. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I always wonder why we didn't. Well, I would have loved to have got a glimpse in like Iron Man and Steel and all these kind of people.
Yeah.
Captain America fighting Bane, that was really cool. But you only saw glimpses of them. Yeah.
Well, let's point out Iron Man gets one panel in DC versus Marvel.
Yeah. You wouldn't
Yeah.
get that now, would you?
You
Yeah.
absolutely
Oh, heck
wouldn't.
no.
He would be one of
No.
the 11 fights.
Yeah, absolutely. So I used to run a blog about 10 years ago where I would crudely Photoshop DC and Marvel heroes to make my own amalgams. And I used to very much enjoy doing that. But I like you were saying, you want to see the lower tier characters. I used to put people like Buana Beast and Beta Ray Bill together. Buana Ray Bill.
Better Ray Beast.
Yeah.
So I think what we're doing is, if they were going to team up today, which they won't for a variety of reasons, that includes Disney and Warner Brothers being competitors, what would the fights be and how would the fans vote? Right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to it, Paul. Who are we starting with?
So
how many fights are we doing?
Oh, let's do them until we get fed up of it.
We have to have an odd number because there should be a winner.
Yeah, okay. So let's see how many we can do in the next
Okay.
Let's see how many.
I just want to point out to everyone that I have made a list of DC characters that I feel that DC would insist gets put in, and a list of Marvel characters that I feel that Marvel would insist gets put in. And I would be very interested to see which ones of them make it to our list and which ones do not. But I will not tell you what the list is until afterwards.
So I think that's a good place to start. I'll name some big flagship characters and we'll see who we can link them up to.
All right.
So Superman. Let's start with the biggie, Superman. Now, I know who I think Superman should fight. What do you guys think? It was the Hulk in the original one. I don't think it should be the Hulk.
No.
No.
I think Superman clearly fights Thor.
Oh, okay. Thor, yeah. What do you think, Lamar?
Yeah, as it stands now, because a lot's really happened in between now and then. So, shoot, that was almost 30 years ago. So,
including the rise of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the big one that kind of moves the dial a little bit. So yeah, I think it would definitely be Thor. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I mean, we already saw that in the JLA Avengers, but yeah, I think the scale would probably be bigger in this, I think.
I mean, who else would it be?
Well, yeah. I thought, right, someone who's been really pushed to the forefront of Marvel in terms of being like a flagship character, thanks to the movies as well, and in terms of power is up there as well. I was thinking Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers.
I can see where you're coming from with this, Paul.
Yeah.
I think it would be the worst move they could make. And I know why, and you know why, and I don't have to tell you why.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Would it be a good look? No, it would not.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, and it would certainly bring a certain string of fandom out of the woodwork, wouldn't it? Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
Also, I think the thing is, I think that DC only agrees to this under the condition that Superman's going to win.
Yeah, and if Superman beats Captain Marvel, that's a bad look, isn't it? Really, I think.
Well, it's not just that. I think also that Thor is a better character when he loses. He's fun to read about and to watch when he's losing. In the movies, he doesn't win anything. The only guy he ever beats is Loki. He loses in Infinity War. He loses in Ragnarok. He loses in Love and Thunder. And I love him for it.
And, you know, from a story point of view, there's something very appealing about a really powerful character whose whole thing is that he needs to learn humility, being beaten by an equally powerful character, but someone who is the most humble man in the universe. Like, you know, so yeah, a literal lesson in humility. I like that, actually.
What did you have a story in mind for Superman versus Captain Marvel, though?
I was really basing it on the fact that she is one of the most prominent and most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. She's a leader figure for the Marvel Universe, and her powers are quite similar in that she absorbs this sort of cosmic energy, doesn't she? And, you know, so and he absorbs solar energy. So I thought in that sense, they're quite similar in terms of power. And I guess she's a sort of someone who wants to take charge and wants to be the leader and is trained to be the leader, whereas he is someone who is thrust into the position of leader a lot of the time, whereas it's not his natural inclination. So I thought that clash would be quite interesting. But I think you're right. Superman versus Thor would work better, I think.
Yeah, if Superman versus Captain Marvel comes down to a vote, I think it would be the worst experience on social media I'm ever going to
do. Yes. Yeah, you're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right. Okay, so we've got
not to put too fine a point on it, Paul, but like there are certain Facebook groups about Superman that I've joined that I've just left because it's just really unpleasant.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to bring the toxic masculinity out in people, isn't it? So let's sidestep that.
Let's move aside from that one.
Okay, Superman versus Thor it is. We've
All
got
right.
our first fight. Marvelous. Okay, then let's go to a prominent Marvel guy now. Captain America. Who should fight Captain America?
Ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one because in the original and in JLA Avengers, he fights Batman. And if you think about it really hard, Captain America's natural counterpart is in fact Batman. But there is a better match for Batman.
So, yeah, and there's a better match for Cap as well.
I'm gonna let you tell us what the Cap match is. Lamar, you have any idea?
Dang, that's actually a good one though, because you know what, with Captain America though, there's a couple of different ways you could go and it'll work, right? It's kind of the opposite thing, because like you said, there's a better choice for Batman. But with Captain America, like who could you get?
I think I know who Paul is thinking.
I think I do too. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let you ride with it, Paulie. Go ahead. Who you got, bro?
So DC have their very own artificially enhanced super soldier, and his name is Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke the Terminator. So Captain America versus Deathstroke, it's gotta be. They're two sides of the same coin.
You know what I like about that choice? Because I feel, first of all, in 1995, like Deathstroke was already great, right? But I don't think he was as cool as he ended up being because of the Teen Titans cartoon. All of a sudden, because of that cartoon, Slade's whole thing just like exploded. But the other thing I like about that choice is whenever you see Slade in anything, even before the Titans cartoon, like you see him fight Wolverine and like X-Men Titans, you can tell he's legit. He's going to give you a really big fight.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is that it gets a Titan, like even if he's not actually a Titan, because he's a Titans villain, it gets the Titans represented in this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm for it. Captain America versus Deathstroke.
And what I like about it is that, you know, like because he's so popular, Slade is often pushed as a hero or an anti-hero. Like there's a storyline from the 90s called Panic in the Sky, and it was around the time where I think Slade had his own title. So inexplicably, Superman's picking superheroes to go on this mission, and he chooses Deathstroke to come with him. And it's like, why would he choose that? You know, but Slade's always been pushed as this hero because he is such a cool character. And so to have him go up against someone who is an actual hero to show him how it's done, I quite like that. They're sort of like, you know, you're not a hero. This guy's a hero. Like, yeah. So in that sense, I think it's a good pairing.
Yeah, it works out really good. And like when you think, because you know, Deathstroke's book, going back to what you were talking about, his book was really good, you know. Because I got it every month, and it was kind of like, it was one of those things like, you know, this guy is, you know, he's obviously not a good person, but I'm buying his book every month. So it's like I like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so he kind of had that, you know, like whenever I was reading his book, it was like I couldn't wait for that book to come out every month. So you know, pairing somebody like that against Captain America is just kind of, you know, it's like real natural. You know what I mean? I think that's an excellent pick.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, great.
The guy who tries to be good, but just is a mess versus the guy who is very good. But other than that, they're pretty much exactly the same. Maybe Captain America also uses the entirety of his brain.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So I think
got a feeling also this is not the only Wilson we're going to be seeing in this whole.
The only what?
The only Wilson. Deathstroke is not going to be the only Wilson we're going to be seeing in this whole shebang.
Well, should we get that out of the way then? The really obvious and
there
cool
is
pairing.
Only one matchup that like begs to be done. Like no matter, like you could get any other three people here and this matchup would happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? So let's just get it out of the way, and not because we don't like it. It would be incredible, but because it's so obvious. Deadpool versus Harley Quinn. That's going to happen, right?
Absolutely. What else? These are two of the biggest characters. These are two of the biggest original characters that have been created in the last 30 years, and they're perfect counterparts for each other.
Yeah. That's
easy.
They fight, but would they actually get on with each other? Is there could there be a relationship there of some sort? Or are they too alike?
I don't
know. Are we shipping them?
You know what I think happens with that is that they start hitting one another with stuff, and then they just like, you know what, you all right with me, you know, I know a good place around the corner, we get some tacos, come on, let's go. You know.
Yeah.
What is it they call it? Hammer space? Like
yes, yeah, where they keep all their stuff. Yeah.
All of their cartoon hammers and everything. I imagine a very Looney Tunes like performance by these.
Yeah.
By the way, something we didn't mention back then, you crammed all of these fights into 1.5 issues of DC versus Marvel. These days, I feel like each one of these would get a one shot.
Definitely. Yeah.
Which they should.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them fight for like 3 pages.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What's next? We are at 3 fights down.
You mentioned Batman, and you mentioned you had some ideas for Batman. So who have you got in mind for Batman?
Batman. Look, this is not a demotion on Captain America, people. Captain America and Batman would still be a great fight. We just have seen it twice now. And in terms of personality and in terms of like being prepared for everything and whatnot, you know, the whole idea. So 1995 was before Grant Morrison's JLA. So the idea that Batman is always prepared came from that. So now Batman is always prepared, right? The original I am always prepared guy, dating back to his first appearance in 1966 in the Fantastic Four, is the Black Panther.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is the most obvious counterpart for Batman. Black Panther, of course, was not in the original DC versus Marvel, but obviously in the last several years has seen a stock rise exponentially.
Do you know what? I was going to say Batman and Daredevil because you've got the sort of aristocrat working class thing going on. But I think I prefer Batman and Black Panther. I think it's better.
Lamar, break the tie.
Yeah, I think I like both of those. You know, in fact, when I was thinking about it, the Daredevil one came to mind first, but then I was like, because like what Paulie was saying about the aristocrat, you get that with the Black Panther fight too, you know. So you kind of get the best of both worlds with that one, you know. And like Dewey said, you know, like this is the guy that like dog walked the Avengers the first time out the gate, you know. So it's like, where do you go from there, you know, when it comes to that? So yeah, I'd go with that one, but I do think the Daredevil fight could still happen, like in the back of another book or something, you know, kind of like how the Batman versus Punisher thing happened in JLA Avengers, you know, where you know he was like, well, don't interact with these because you don't want to mess up stuff, and then he sees the Punisher and he spends 15 minutes beating him up, you know, and then he's just like, hey, what do you want me to do, you know?
Can I just add something? I think Batman versus Black Panther is a more even matchup. I think Batman clearly beats Matt.
Yeah.
I also think there is a better match for Daredevil.
Oh, let's do that one next then. So we got Batman versus Black Panther, which I really like. Like you say, even Stevens there. Could be anybody's game. But who's Daredevil going to fight?
Okay. So hear me out, right? If on paper, Batman was the perfect match for Daredevil, but we are in agreement that Batman would absolutely wipe the floor with Matt Murdock, then you just need to find someone close to Batman, but isn't quite as good as him when it comes to fighting people. Nightwing.
I had someone else in mind for Nightwing.
Oh.
And it's a little bit from left field. It's a bit controversial, I feel. Would you like to hear?
I would like to hear.
Absolutely.
For Nightwing, yeah. So Nightwing, he's the sort of linchpin of the DC superhero community, right? He's the one all of them like, all of them defer to, everyone respects him, right?
I love where you're going with this. I know who you're gonna say.
Yeah. So in the Injustice comic, for example, Tom Taylor wrote that, you know, Tom Taylor was writing a universe where all the superheroes fight in a big civil war, and none of it could happen until Nightwing had died, because Tom Taylor, the writer, understood that the heroes would never fight if Nightwing was around to bring peace, because they all respect Nightwing so much. In the Marvel Civil War, in the Marvel comic Civil War, there was one hero, again, who's the linchpin of the Marvel superhero community. Everyone respects this person, and this person had to leave the country during the Marvel Civil War because he just didn't want to be part of it, right? So their powers are very different, but their roles are very similar. Nightwing versus the Thing. What do we think of that? They're very different personalities, very different powers.
I am proposing Nightwing versus Daredevil simply because they're very similar physically. You're proposing Nightwing versus Benjamin J. Grimm, the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing, because they have similar, like, it would make for a better story.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Lamar, break the tie.
Man, why y'all keep doing this to me, man? You know, you know, that one is there's stuff that I'd want to see from each one. Like, for example, the Daredevil one. Like I'd be curious, like, how long is it going to take Nightwing to figure out that Daredevil is blind, right? And what does he do with that information, right? Because I feel like that would be something that I'd want to see play out and be like, okay, he's moving like this, and every time I do this, he kind of does this, and I'm noticing this. You know, I don't think he can see. So what can I do, or whatever, right? Like I want to kind of see how he would work that out, because I do think that he would figure that out, and that he's doing something else because he can't see him. But then, the Thing is just one of my favorite characters, period. And I love Nightwing too. If you're not reading Nightwing's book, y'all need to go do that. That book is crazy.
You all need to go do that.
Yeah, immediately go do that. Now, there's a lot of different, because Nightwing is interesting because Ben Grimm is like a man of the street, but he's off in space doing all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And Nightwing is a guy on the street too, but he's kind of like in mid-drift between that and the aristocrat stuff because of how he was raised, right? So that's interesting. I could see them not agreeing on something and then just like ending up going at it or whatever. But but I'd be interested to see how that would work, because it's just, there's a lot of dynamics there, man. I can't choose, man. We're gonna have to take that one to the comment section, when the video come out. Yeah.
I've got an alternative for Daredevil if it helps swing it my way.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I'm willing to hear it, but here's the other tiebreaker I'm proposing. Like if it comes down to that kind of thing, then I think the question we need to ask is, in this case, who would Marvel want in this book more? Right. And in this case, I think it's close because Daredevil has his own show. But in this case, I think they would want to see the Fantastic Four represented. So
I think so too. Yeah.
That's good for me because I've got a great alternative to fight to fight Daredevil.
So we're settled on Nightwing versus the Thing?
Nightwing versus the Thing.
Okay.
Who would have predicted that?
Daredevil alternative, Paul.
So Daredevil is a man of the streets with ties to a shady ninja cult, right? So who has DC got, who is the opposite of that, who is something of an aristocrat, so they would gel, that would contrast well with Daredevil, but also has ties to a shady ninja cult. It's Damian Wayne.
I knew it. I knew it.
Daredevil versus Damian Wayne?
Yeah, man. Because Damian Wayne, because Batman, he carries himself like an aristocrat in a certain way, like he's arrogant, but no one is as arrogant as Damian Wayne, right? So to have someone who looks down his nose at everyone fighting this quintessential man of the streets, but they're both like trained by shady ninjas, I think that would be really interesting. What do you guys think? Robin versus Daredevil.
He's a full-grown adult and he's a child.
Yeah, but Daredevil wouldn't know he's fighting a child. No, he would.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm sold on the idea because I want it to exist just so Paulie will have the gratification of reading it. So that's enough for me to say, yeah, I'm gonna rock with it.
But Daredevil would be like, not even I can fight you. You're a child, Not even Matt Murdock would stoop that low. And Damian would just start wailing on him then, Daredevil would have to fight.
Can we park that for a bit? I'm just gonna write that down on the side, and we can come back to that later, because I had in mind for Damian Wayne.
Yeah,
I had Miles Morales in mind for Damian Wayne.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah,
but what about
because
John
they're
Kent?
Both children.
What about John Kent Superboy for Miles Morales though?
You just want Spider-Man to fight Superboy again?
Yeah, but a different Superboy. Yeah. I'm just really sold on Damian.
Yeah, Paulie is not letting that go. So I would just go ahead and he ain't letting that go. I ain't mad at him either, but yeah, he ain't letting it go.
Can we go to somewhere else right now first and then come back to this later?
Okay.
I'm not sure I want a full-grown adult known for killing, but not killing, known for like paralyzing Bullseye to be fighting to be fighting a child. Even if that child is Damian Wayne.
Damien has literally chopped the guy's head off. Like,
Yeah, I mean, hey, get it how you live. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I'm willing to revisit that. Yes.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Yeah.
We're five. We've got 5 fights settled down, and we still haven't spoken about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah, let's do Spider-Man. Who's like Peter Parker? Who's Peter Parker gonna fight? I know who I want him to fight, but it's a bit of a mismatch in terms of power, though.
Is it Barry Allen?
Yeah. They're both science nerds,
They're both science nerds without an actual real counterpart.
Yeah.
And lately, both multiversal traveling science nerds.
There we go. There's your link there. A fight to the multiverse with Flash and Spider-Man. I think it could work.
I think that the natural counterpart for Peter Parker is Ted Cord, and Ted Cord is not making this list. So so I'm willing to go with Barry Allen. I think it would be weird to put both Barry and Wally in this whole thing, both of them. Maybe we can do one of those things where the multiverse changes Barry into Wally or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Nice.
Like, just so they're both in there. So I'm willing to go Peter versus Barry. What are you, Lamar?
Yeah, I'm good with that. For the reasons that you guys stated already, I'm good with that. I think that would be an interesting thing, especially when you add, like you were talking about like the dimensional stuff. It's interesting. So yeah, I'm with that, because I think their personalities would clash and then come together. So there's you have that interesting dynamic. Yeah.
And they both had their marriages wiped from history.
Yeah.
They have so much in common.
What marriage?
See?
What's that?
What marriage?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a mismatch in terms of power. What I'm imagining there is like Peter trying to stay ahead of Barry the whole time.
Yeah.
Then of course eventually Barry catches up to him. And we can talk later on about who would win that. Who's next?
Okay, so who have we missed? I'm going to consult my list. Who haven't we? Oh, Wonder Woman. We haven't done Wonder Woman with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the lazy option would be to say Wonder Woman versus Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I'd go with that. Actually, yeah, because they're both sort of got this kind of weird military background, but very different armies. You've got sort of ancient Greek military versus like American US Army kind of US Air Force, I guess, kind of military style. So I could see they're both soldiers. I could see that happening.
So I think the other alternatives for Wonder Woman would be you've got Captain Marvel and She-Hulk, or actually the Hulk.
Oh, the Hulk might be interesting.
Because I'm looking at this list and I don't know who I would have the Hulk fight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Wonder Woman, because I said she's a soldier, but she's also, there's always that sort of contradiction in Wonder Woman. She's an ambassador for peace as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this woman who represents peace and truth, representing this huge ball of rage,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got the goddess of truth versus he's not just a ball of rage. He's quite sneaky, isn't he? He's quite devious, the Hulk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he is.
So that might be quite interesting.
Because I'm looking at this list of DC icons and heroes, and there is someone that I think Carol Danvers can fight that isn't Wonder Woman. There's no one. Well, I suppose the Hulk can also fight that guy, but
I'm really sold on the Hulk versus because, like, what effect would the lasso of truth have on the Hulk? He's got so many true identities bubbling around in there. Who's that going to bring to the surface? That lasso, like, you know?
it's a better
I'm-
comic, isn't it, than Wonder
Yeah,
Woman versus
think it
Captain
makes-
Marvel?
Yeah, I think it makes for a better showing. I think, you know, to have the two of them go at it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the difference is with what we're doing. What happened with DC versus Marvel in 1995 was really just all fights. If we're doing that thing that we mentioned where it's a different one shot per fight, each one is going to have an actual story and an actual theme and an actual thing that they're exploring. And I'm not sure that I would find it captivating to see Wonder Woman fight Captain Marvel, where it's just like, I was taught by the Amazons, I was taught by the US Air Force. You know, I think that would just sound really good in theory, but not really
yeah.
be all that
Practice,
captivating a
yeah.
comic.
Yeah.
So we're going with Wonder Woman versus the Hulk.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I bring it back to Spider-Man and the Flash just for a second? Because I've just thought of something really cool.
Okay.
They're fighting through the multiverse, right?
Yeah.
So within that main fight, Barry versus Peter, you can have like John Fox versus Miguel O'Hara as well.
Oh,
How
so
cool would that be?
That's
Yeah,
so cool.
we got to do it, you know.
That's so cool. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
So you got like Jay Garrick fighting, I don't know, Otto
I know.
Octavius. I don't know.
Uncle Ben.
Dang.
Okay. What about Wolverine? Because Wolverine
Yeah,
has to be in this.
Yeah. Oh, I've got someone for Wolverine.
Who?
Okay, I don't know if he's a big enough name, right? And there might be a mismatch in power, but maybe not actually. Wildcat. Ted Wildcat Grant versus Wolverine. He's got
Oh.
9 lives, so it's kind of like a healing factor.
I would love to read that comic.
Yeah.
He's a brawler, you know? He's a bit rough around the edges, like Wolverine. They both smoke cigars. So you can have the bar fight again. You know?
Just going to say that if this is a voting thing, this would be the most lopsided vote, though.
Definitely the most lopsided vote. But
Wildcat would lose spectacularly, and he would give Logan a run for his money, I think. And Logan would underestimate him. Like, who's this old gripper? Like, you know?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I can't really think of any other counterparts for Wolverine. I'm looking at my list here. So yeah, I like it.
Cool.
I know Lamar likes it because you mentioned a JSAer. I find it funny because I said Ted Cord's not making this list and now we're putting in Ted Grant. But okay.
hey, the dice roll like that sometimes, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, that would actually be a cool fight, though. Just visually, it would be a cool fight to see, just to have somebody draw it, you know, and see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a fun fight.
Wolverine versus Wildcat. I'd buy that. I would buy that.
The last 4 pages would literally be just Wolverine like beating the crap out of Wildcat and Wildcat just talking smack to him. It's like, yeah. No, you think this is gonna end it? No.
Wildcat just getting back up, and he's like a complete mess, and Wolverine's like, just drop. Wildcat's like, nope.
Just drop and I'll buy you a beer.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you know, the book could actually end like 3-4 days later, and Wolverine's at the bar and he's having a drink, and he goes to pick up his cigar, and then Ted Grant just walks in there, picks the cigar up and smokes it and walks out, and then Wolverine's like what
Didn't I just I am sold. I want this comic to exist. Wildcat versus Wolverine it is. Okay. Who we got next, Paul?
Okay, so I've actually got someone for each of the Fantastic Four.
Really?
I know we've already had the thing, yeah. Are we up for this?
I am up for it. But before we
Okay.
go to the Fantastic Four, I'm gonna throw out a couple of obvious ones, and I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
you if we're gonna go ahead and do this. Green Arrow versus Hawkeye.
We got to do that. It's just too
Mhm.
perfect. Their personalities are just so, like they hate each other because they're so alike, and that's what came across in JLA Avengers. And I
Yeah.
think
Mhm.
it's so perfect.
Black Canary versus Black Widow. Because here's my proposal.
Yeah.
Just put those in one comic. Like make
Oh,
that
like
Yeah.
the
make
obvious
that
ones.
yeah, make
Yeah.
Green Arrow and Black Canary versus Hawkeye and Black Widow one fight.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. That would be cool. Yeah. Yeah. You know
Um,
what would be cool as well,
yeah.
right? Is Black Widow in the past fights the original Black Canary, Black Canary's mother, and then in the present fights her daughter, fights the current Black Canary. So you have two fights happening in different times, one of them involving the same woman. Would that work?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So it's all one fight that takes place in two different time zones.
Well, it's like because Black Widow's lived a long time, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in the past, she fought Black Canary's mother, and now her daughter's back for vengeance, kind of thing.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are, and then the other really obvious one that I want to throw out before we get to anything else, Aquaman versus Namor.
I had another person for Aquaman, but it might be controversial.
Is it one of the Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the Fantastic Four.
Okay. So, yeah, Aquaman versus Human Torch, right? Because you've got this sort of quite serious character in Aquaman up against this quite sort of flippant character in Johnny Storm. You've got a sort of like a battle that is a nod to those old Golden Age Namor versus Human Torch battles, and you've got the whole water and fire thing going on as well. I think Human Torch versus Aquaman would be pretty good. What do you guys think of that?
Just a throwback to the first ever comic book superhero crossover right there.
Yeah.
With Namor and the original Human Torch fighting.
But this is Johnny Storm and Arthur Curry.
But this is Johnny Storm and Arthur Curry. I like it. Lamar?
Yeah, this is another one for me that has got to happen because I want Paulie to have it. So there's no way possible that I would even think of saying no to this. Even if I didn't want to see it myself, I would never say no to this because you see Paulie has put tons of thought into this, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, so yes, we going with that. We can write that down.
Wonderful. Thank you. So my other one, Invisible Woman, can construct anything she wants with her invisible force fields, right?
Oh, I see where you're going with this one.
Green Lantern versus Invisible Woman.
Okay.
And you've got the pleasure of seeing like Hal Jordan with a history of not treating women very well, being slapped about by the Marvel Universe's premier woman hero. Like,
Yellow is one weakness.
yeah. Exactly. Yes, he's got a thing about blondes as well, so you can just see Invisible Woman slapping him about, basically.
Okay, I like the idea. Who does Iron Man fight then? Because I had Iron Man versus Green Lantern.
Okay, so
and
for
Iron Man has to be in this thing. Oh.
Iron Man's got to be in it. I've got someone for it's cheating a bit. This is so. If you don't allow it, this is fine, right? Iron Man versus Tony Stark fights the the man who represents everything Tony Stark could have been and still might be if he gives into his worst impulses.
Lex
Iron
Luthor?
Man, Lex Luthor. Iron Man versus Lex Luthor.
What would that fight? We'd have to use the green armor.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like
Mhm.
Lex would be like armored up.
You know, Paul, if we add in Lex and then we have Deathstroke, we've got two villains on the DC side
Yeah.
and none on the Marvel side.
But DC do like to sort of, push their villains. Dan Didio always used to push his villains, didn't he? To the forefront.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And just think how sweet Lex Luthor versus Tony Stark would be.
Iron Man versus Lex Luthor, Lamar, you up for it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah, definitely.
And Green
And
Lantern
Lex has been a
versus
member of the Justice League, so he has been on the goodies side at least some point.
now. Who does Reed Richards fight?
Mr. Terrific.
Of course, that's obvious.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Herbies versus T-Spheres,
Okay.
Because, like Reed's the smartest man in the Marvel universe. And I think there's been a pretty clear implication in certain comics that Mr. Terrific is the smartest man in the DC universe, but he lets Lex Luthor and Batman think they're ahead of him.
He just says he's the third smartest man.
Yeah. But
That's
we all know
actually the smartest thing he's doing.
Yeah. We all know he's really the smartest. So Mr. Terrific, Mr. Fantastic, I think has got to be done.
Okay. There are a few names that we haven't mentioned yet that I think need to be on this thing. One is Carol Danvers. So I'm gonna go really obvious here and say Captain Marvel should fight Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm down with that. Yeah.
Because
Cosmic versus magic. That's good. I like that.
Well, also because, if we initially wanted her fighting Superman, well, there is another guy out there with the same set of powers, essentially.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that one. The other one is Kamala Khan.
I've got one for Kamala Khan.
You have one?
Stargirl. Courtney Whitmore.
That would be fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got Stargirl has her own TV show. Kamala Khan has her own TV show. I'm for it. And okay. Do you have anything else, Paul? Do you want to get back to Daredevil and Damian Wayne and Miles versus John Kent?
Can I throw one out there? Just something to happen in the background of
Okay.
one-ish, not actually a main fight. I don't know. Maybe it could. Morpheus versus Sleepwalker. How cool would that be? I mean, Sleepwalker wouldn't have a chance, but I just think it would be so cool.
Morpheus versus Nightmare, where they look alike, right? They look alike.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah. That would be good. Yeah.
I feel like that's one of those things happening in the background.
Yeah.
But not one of the actual fights. Do we do Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange? Or is that like
Satana and Doctor Strange?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Or is that a fight that we leave out, honestly?
I feel like Zatanna would win.
Really?
From a story point of view, maybe not the vote.
Is it not Zatanna versus the Scarlet Witch?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe Dr. Fate versus Scarlet Witch, because the whole chaos magic thing.
Chaos versus order.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fights we're doing right now. versus Wanda, where 17th fight is Zatanna versus Doctor Strange. And okay, Lamar, I'm going to ask you this question. Should Miles Morales fight Damian Wayne or Jonathan Kent? Either way is a mismatch, but if you pick Jonathan Kent, then we're going to have Daredevil fight Damian Wayne. And if you don't pick, if you pick Damian Wayne, then Daredevil and Jonathan Kent don't have anyone to fight.
Mm-hmm. Man,
Because I'm not putting those two against each other, obviously.
You know, darn, man. Because, like, I'm trying to, you know, and here's the thing with the John Kent thing, right? Me personally, I liked him better when he was younger. You know, that's just me. You know, before he got aged up, I thought he was a better character as a child. So I don't really know that much about like what he's doing now and all of that because I kind of checked out on it. But I probably wouldn't be the best person to say that, you know. So I don't really know.
Would you rather have Miles fight Robin or Superboy?
See, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like I just I don't know. Shoot, because I could think of a lot of there's some things we could do with both of them, man. So I don't know.
This is the problem with a Spider-Man is there's literally no one in the other, like anywhere else where you could be like, yes, he has a comparable power set. Like no one.
Yeah, I mean, like you know, because when you think about it, and I agree with what you're saying, right? Like Spider-Man was kind of the guy that broke the mold, right? Because you know, you have your pulp characters, and then Superman comes along, and then you have that. So you go like 30 years later, and now there's something else, right? And in that time period from then, you know, and I think a lot of it has to do with that his powers are basically based on something that's tangible that you can kind of see every day, right? And it's something that occurs in the natural world. And that kind of mix hasn't been there. You've had people that have been strong and fast and agile and all of that kind of stuff, but never like together, you know. So it's really, really difficult like to put him with people. They usually just end up going with like personality, you know, which is cool with me. But you know, I don't know.
Okay. Currently we have 17 fights. We're gonna get to an odd number, then we need two more. So
Okay.
it's either Daredevil versus Damian Wayne and Miles versus Jonathan Kent. Or here's my proposal. Hear me out. Miles versus Damian Wayne, which I think Damian is more important than Jonathan Kent because Jonathan Kent is still Superman.
Right. Yeah.
But with Damian Wayne, you get the Robin brand in there.
Yeah.
If Miles versus Damian Wayne and Daredevil versus Catwoman.
Yeah. Okay. I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's like Catwoman fighting Daredevil. It would be like, what if there was a Batman that had more in common with her?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like Batman, but he's also like her more than Batman is.
Yeah, and you know, Sparks.
Yeah, Daredevil, Catwoman sold me. Daredevil, Catwoman, Miles, Damian Wayne, just the nicest kid in the Marvel universe versus the most horrible kid in the DC. Yeah, Miles versus Damian, it does work.
I'm sorry, I can't think of anyone else to fight Jonathan Kent, but there's
who's Superman fighting again?
Thor.
Maybe he can fight Kevin Masterson.
Jonathan Kent versus Hercules.
Yeah. That would be good.
in the background or something. But if we do that, when we need one more fight to get to an even number.
Yeah.
Um,
Have we
okay,
got it then?
yeah, we have it. So we have 19 fights. I wrote them all down. Should we talk about who we think wins each one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. We're doing who we think should win and who the fans would vote for, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Us versus the fans. Yeah.
Us versus the fans. Okay. So the first match is Superman versus Thor. Who do we think would win? Superman.
Superman wins both. Superman wins for us. Superman wins for the vote, I think.
Yeah, I think Superman wins this both times.
Yeah.
Okay. Deathstroke versus Captain America. Captain America.
Captain America, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Harley Quinn versus Deadpool. This one's hard. This one's hard.
I feel like they'd be evenly matched in so many ways, wouldn't they?
Does Harley break the fourth wall as much as Deadpool?
I think she does. Maybe
Yeah.
not as much as Deadpool, but she
Yeah.
has done it.
Yeah, not quite as much. You know, that's kind of like his thing. Like everything kind of comes from that. But with her, she does it. Like she does it more than like the Joker does, for example. But so she's kind of probably in between those two, I would think.
I would want Harley to win, but that's me.
Yeah.
I think the fans would vote for Deadpool.
I think you're right. I will go with both of those. I'd probably want Harley to win as well. But
Lamar?
Deadpool in the public vote.
Yeah. I'm with Paulie on that one.
Okay. Batman versus the Black Panther. I would want T'Challa to win. I think Batman wins the fan vote.
I would want Batman to win, and I think Batman wins the fan vote.
Yeah, I kind of think if I had to pick a winner between that one, I'm picking T'Challa, but even now I think he'd come up short in a fan vote because but there's a lot of reasons why not all of them are good. I won't get into that, but yeah, definitely.
I mean, let's be fair. Anyone against Batman would lose in a fan vote.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, with few exceptions. Yeah.
But in universe, what's interesting about this is like in universe, like Batman's the underdog in that fight because T'Challa has him, T'Challa is probably quicker, stronger, he's richer, more resourceful than him. He's probably he's more prepared than him. I would say Batman's the underdog in that fight.
I actually agree.
Not in the popular vote, but in universe.
Not that would matter to Batman. He would never let you know that he was the underdog.
No.
Okay. Dick Grayson versus Benjamin J. Grimm.
I would want the Thing to win.
Who do you think wins the popular vote?
The Thing.
Really? I would want Nightwing to win, and I think he would win the popular vote.
Wow. Okay.
Like right now in 2023, I think Nightwing would win the popular vote on account of he has one of the most critically acclaimed comics coming out right now.
I think based on name recognition with casual fans, and if it was an online vote, you could get casual fans conceivably voting. I would say the Thing wins.
I think it's close. I don't know.
It is close. I do think it's close.
Yeah,
in both ways, it's close. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like if the people voting the fan votes, if a couple people decide to take the day off or something like that from voting, that could go either way. Yeah, but I don't even know. Yeah, I'm kind of torn on it myself. I don't know who I'd want to see win that.
But you got to break the tie, or else we're not counting anything.
Y'all keep killing me with me breaking these ties, man. Like, okay.
Who do you want to win, and
Hmm.
who do you think the fans would end up voting for? This is very close. It's tough.
This
It's
is
very
probably the toughest one, probably.
Yeah.
I think, at least.
because they're both
What
great.
we got. Yeah. But I'm gonna flip a coin on this, and this is just a regular quarter. Ain't no scars on
So
it.
this is who you want to win.
Yeah, we gonna yeah. 'Cause I'm flipping for both of them. Y'all ain't doing me like this and have my nerves all tore up. Heads the thing, tails, Dick Grayson. Okay, that's heads.
All
So
right. So
you know,
the thing wins both of these on account of the coin.
yep.
Barry Allen or Peter Parker?
I want Barry to win, but I think the public vote Peter.
I think Peter obviously wins the public vote.
Yeah.
And I want him to win. But I don't think he
Mhm.
should win. So I'm going to say Barry on that one.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say Barry too. And it's no dig at Peter. I just think that the way that would probably go now, I think that Barry probably would, he's got more experience with that. So as far as like the actual story, I think he Barry would win, but Spider-Man, like Batman, there's almost no way that he loses a popular vote. Like, I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think also I would want the Flash to win because the way I see it is like Spider-Man's completely outclassed. So it would be like a nothing can stop the Juggernaut type of story.
Yeah.
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 Which would be great, but he would have to lose it. I don't think the fans would let that happen.
No.
Somewhere
that's
along
true.
the line, Barry Allen will slip on a banana peel.
Yeah.
we could cheat,
Yeah.
right? Barry beats Peter, but Miguel beats John Fox.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the Juggernaut story, because I think that this one is even more lopsided than that.
100%.
Yeah, it's definitely more lopsided. Yeah.
Wonder Woman or the Hulk?
I feel like I would want Wonder Woman to win because she would be the underdog in this. And everyone says like Hulk is like, when they talk about Superman fighting the Hulk, they're like, well, Hulk gets infinitely stronger the madder he gets, right? So he's always going to be stronger than Superman. But that's not what wins the fight, brute strength, is it? There's all this other stuff going on. So like Wonder Woman, physically, she's not as powerful as the Hulk. She's not as devious or sly as the Hulk, but she's got all the sort of the battle skills going on as well, the fighting skills, and she can fly, and she's got her bracelets. I think Wonder Woman should win, but I think the public would probably vote for the Hulk.
Ooh, I would want Wonder Woman to win. I don't know who the public would vote for, so I actually also think they would vote for the Hulk.
Yeah, I think this is actually a better fight than Superman versus the Hulk, personally. I think that Diana beats him, because there's other stuff that she does on a level that nobody else could. So yeah, I think she wins, because like the whole thing, because there's no upper limit to the Hulk strength, but Diana's a type of person, she wouldn't care anything about that, right? If that's all you got, okay, cool, we'll rock with that, but I don't care. Then if you keep getting stronger, I'm gonna keep beating you. So but I do think that she probably would lose the popular vote. And the reason why mainly is because, like the Hulk is in the middle of like a resurgence, mostly because of his book. And the book is kind of crazy right now. It's been really, really good for the past couple of years. But
And he's been well represented in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can't
definitely.
really say about Wonder Woman. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think definitely Wonder Woman deserved better material than what she got. But yeah, that's the way I see it. Wonder Woman wins the fight in the book and loses the popular vote.
Yeah.
You know, the way I imagine that ending is so she'll wrap him in the lasso of truth, and it'll be like a contest of willpower at that point. Well, can she turn him back into Bruce Banner, or like calm him down or something? Or will he manage to break out of the lasso, or like, slam her into the ground while he's wrapped up in it?
You know what I see happening when he's wrapped in the lasso, and I see like a sort of immortal Hulk, sort of monstrous transformation thing happening. So you've got the Hulk wrapped in the lasso. Which one is his true nature? You've got the Grey Hulk popping out here. You've got Banner popping out here. You've got like, all the sort of variants of the Hulk just popping out, like, so, rah, and it would look really cool.
It's
I
good
think.
stuff. Okay, Wildcat versus Wolverine. I'm going to speak for all of us and say that Wolverine wins the popular vote.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah.
Who do you want to win? It would still be Wolverine, because I said earlier, like, I would want it to be a thing where Wolverine just beating the crap out of him at the end there.
Yeah, and he just but like I think Wolverine, it's like a Rocky wins on points thing. I think.
Yeah.
Wolverine technically wins, but he doesn't knock Ted down. Wildcat stays up.
Yeah, I think that Wolverine definitely wins the popular vote. And uh Wildcat ultimately, like you said, he'd probably end up losing that in a one-on-one thing, even though I'd want him to win. But that's probably how it goes. But the whole time, but the banter between the two of them and the going back and forth, taking shots, I'm there for that. Yeah.
Okay. The next one is our one and only tag team match, which is Green Arrow and the Black Canary versus Hawkeye and the Black Widow.
I think Hawkeye and Black Widow win the popular vote based on the affection people have from the movies. I want Green Arrow and Black Canary to win because Ollie's the better archer. He just is in my head, and I can't face up to a universe where Ollie's not a better archer than Clint.
Paul, I'm gonna ask this, and this is really weird. How can you claim one of them is the better archer when both of them never miss?
pure fan bias. Just pure fanboy bias.
When two people have the same rate of 100%, neither of them is better than the other.
I know. Yeah.
My favorite character, I think it's very, very even, but my favorite character in all four of these is the Black Canary. So I'm going to say I want the DC side to win here. Lamar?
Yeah, I'm with both of y'all on that. I don't think that in the public consciousness, the DC side isn't where the Marvel side is by any stretch. So they would lose that, but I think they would, I would want them to win the fight. And to kind of speak to what Paulie was talking about, I think the real difference between the two of them is that Ollie got his on an island, so his stuff is based in survival, right? So for him, he's got that extra, like he's got that dog in him, you know what I mean, when it comes to that. So that Clint doesn't necessarily have, and I think that probably would be the tell. For me, that would be the one. He's kind of like Allen Iverson, you know what I mean? So he just got that in it. So that's the side I would go. But I would love to see Black Canary and Black Widow go at it. Like that would be nuts.
I think the way that you describe Green Arrow and Hawkeye, it means it would come down to they would both run out of arrows, and it would come down to not actually who's the better archer is. It's just who's better in a
Mhm.
fight.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right though. Like Clint learned his skills in a circus. Ollie learned his skills on an island. You know, that's the difference, isn't it? At the end of the day, one's a
Mm-hmm.
showman, the other one's like fighting to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Our 10th matchup is Aquaman versus the Human Torch. Johnny Storm. I
So,
actually am with Aquaman on both of these. I think he wins,
oh,
and I think he wins, and I think he wins the popular vote.
yeah, I think Johnny just won't take it seriously enough, and Aquaman will beat him because of that. And Aquaman will definitely win the popular vote. Definitely.
You're like Johnny would be like, oh yeah, you're just a Namor wannabe,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and then somehow get his ass handed to him.
But Aquaman would also call forth, I'm seeing this like in true Namor style. Aquaman would call forth like a big sort of Kirby fish monster thing to crawl across the city. And Johnny would have to fight that as well. So yeah, that's how I picture it anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I think that, yeah, I think that and it's kind of funny to say this, right? If you've been doing this long enough that Aquaman wins the popular vote, like, historically speaking, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? But that's where we are though. It's a good thing. That's where we are. But yeah, I think Aquaman wins the fight too, because in my mind, this is the Aquaman who has the Poseidon's trident, and I don't think there's anything Johnny could do with that. In addition to just the fact that Aquaman, he's a tank. You know what I mean? And only one of these characters between the two of them has thrown a bear at somebody, and that was Aquaman. So I'm going with the dude that threw the bear at somebody.
Yes, yes. Aquaman throws a bear at Johnny.
Here we go. Green Lantern versus Susan Storm Richards.
Right. I love Hal. I really love Hal. I think Hal gets bad rap these days on the internet, but Sue beats him in the popular vote and in the.
You think Sue beats him in the popular vote? Really?
Yeah. I think Hal, because it's Hal. I don't think Hal is as popular as he used to be with the fans. Maybe because of the movie.
Really? Because I think even if he's not as popular as he used to be, I think he would still win over the Invisible Woman.
I think if it was John would be her in the popular vote. I think he's the Green Lantern people grew up with in the cartoon. He's the one people like now. He's the one people want to see in the movies. And yeah, I think because it's Hal, people will go with Sue.
I say I have it the other way around. I think the Invisible Woman wins, but I think Hal Jordan wins the popular vote.
Oh, I personally want Sue to win as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lamar, what do you think?
I think I don't really have a person that I like want to win. But I'm just gonna go with what I think the better story would be. I think the better story would be like if Hal lost and he was just like, okay, well, you won the fight, but I'm gonna win something else, right? And then that's when he starts shooting the shot, right? You know what I'm saying? That's how I see that happening. So, but when it comes to like the fan vote, I think that's another one of those don't take the day off when it comes to voting, because I think that one's not as close as some of the other ones would be, but I could see that going either way. Because I mean, and the reason why I say that, right, is because Green Lantern had one bad movie because he's only had the one movie. But at the same time, how many Fantastic Four movies have we had that were not that good, right?
Yeah.
Do
Right.
you know what though?
No,
Sorry
go
to
ahead.
interrupt you there.
No, you good. Go ahead, bro.
Just want to say, if you look on Twitter now, people younger than us, the way they're talking about those two Fantastic Four movies, yeah, the original ones, people got fond memories of them. You know, because
Really?
people who are adults now watched those films when they were kids.
When they were kids. I can see
and
that.
they've got fond memories of them. And you see
I
it
can see
on
that.
like Twitter, I know, on the internet, you know, on
Yeah,
TikTok
yeah,
and
yeah.
on
Mhm.
Twitter and all that.
Yeah.
People talking very fondly about those two Fantastic Four films.
No,
But
I can
sorry,
see
I
that.
interrupted you then. You carry
No,
on.
no, that's a good point. I mean, because you know, like I'm not on Twitter, so I wouldn't know that, right? So no, that's actually a good point because like I know it's movies that I like when I was young and I still love them, but they're trash movies. You know, like I'm probably the biggest fan of Howard the Duck that you will ever meet in your life. It's a horrible movie though, right? By no stretch of the imagination. If that movie's on, I'm watching it, but it's a terrible movie, right? So so I get that, right? So I do think that if the vote is going to go a certain way, that would be something to make it go in the other direction. Because like you said, you know, like the same people you're talking about, they grew up with John, right? As opposed to Hal. So they probably would look at Hal and be like, who is this dude? Why did they change him? You know, or whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I'll tell you why I think Hal wins the popular vote.
Okay.
Who's the last writer to handle Hal Jordan?
Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
That too. Yeah, that too.
The Fantastic Four have been out of publication for a while. Like they just came back. So I don't know. I think it's close. And I think if it were the Fantastic Four versus Hal Jordan, the Fantastic Four would win. But this is very specifically the Invisible Woman versus Hal Jordan. And in terms of name recognition, I think the name recognition Green Lantern wins over Invisible Woman.
Yeah,
that's true too. Yeah, because
on the ballot, it's not going to say Invisible Woman of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that being the case. Because you know that there's always going to be people that are just going to vote for stuff, and they're going to be like, I don't know who that is, so I'm voting for the other person. You know, that's always going to happen. Yeah. So I can see that. Yeah.
Okay. I'll go with, personally, as much as I absolutely love Hal, I think Sue should beat him. But
it's a better story if she wins.
It's a better story.
It's definitely a better story in a lot of ways if she wins. Yeah.
But the popular vote, Hal wins. Yeah.
Okay. I think the next one, I think we're all going to agree on this one. Iron Man beats Lex Luthor, both in the story and in the popular vote.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like Iron Man's going to be really traumatized by the fight because, you know, he'll see himself as if in a mirror, you know, a distorted mirror.
The person I used to be and the person I could have been. Okay. I love this one because I get to say it. Mr. Terrific versus Mr. Fantastic.
You know, like, I want Reed to win. I think, and Reed will win the popular vote. But like,
I think Reed definitely wins the popular vote. This one's a bit of a landslide popularity-wise.
Yeah,
I think so.
Reed's more arrogant. I want Reed to win personally because I prefer Reed as a character. But I think Reed's so arrogant and Mr. Terrific isn't. So Mr. Terrific will play on that arrogance and he'll beat him.
If Mr. Terrific is in fact the smartest person in the DC universe, Reed Richards is the smartest person in both universes, isn't he?
What? So you think Reed's smarter than Mr. Terrific?
I think in terms
I'm not arguing.
Yeah, I think, is he not?
I'd say he was.
Especially after Secret Wars. I think he's the smartest person in both universes.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, personally, I think Dr. Savannah is the smartest person in both universes.
I mean, that's true.
But you know what I'm saying? That's what I think. If you ask me, that's what I'm gonna say. But between these two characters, like, but if somebody were to say Reed is the smartest dude in both of them, I'm not arguing with that.
Yeah.
There's a case to be made for that, right? Yeah, I definitely think that because ultimately you have to go down to like what the characters have done. And I understand that, Mr. Terrific has, number one, been underused and undervalued, but he also has been in publication for a shorter amount of time, right, than Reed. So Reed kind of has the leverage when it comes to the things that writers have come up with him, to do, and I get that. But when you go off of it, I ultimately think Reed is smarter than him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that I think Reed wins because if we're going to base it on the people that they have beaten, Mr. Terrific does not have a Victor Von Doom.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've sold it to me.
That's the point I'm making, right? Like, who does he have that's because we talking about Dr. Doom here, right? So like he doesn't have anybody like that. Even in the larger format of the JSA, he hasn't dealt with anybody like that, that, and Reed constantly is doing that, right?
That is correct. Okay, so we're done with the Fantastic Four. Moving on to match number 14, we have Billy Batson, Shazam, Captain Marvel versus the other Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers.
Personally, I pick Billy. I think she wins the popular vote. Carol wins the popular vote, though.
I think so too, because I don't think the movies have done Billy any. Like I know Carol's movies are divisive, and I don't really want to get into why. It's not a pleasant conversation. But I don't think Billy's movies have really done anything for Billy's stock. Like it has not moved the needle on how popular Shazam is.
Yeah. And also, the public perception of Billy. I mean, that second movie, I mean, he's just a fool, he's that they portray him as a fool.
It's legitimately not a good movie.
No. And it worked in the first one because he's like learning how to be better. But by the second movie, it's like, oh, so he's still a fool. Okay. So,
no, it's because they decided that, okay, hey, Zach, like, the annoying space cadet routine you were doing in the first movie, we need you to take that to 11.
Yeah.
Like this Captain Marvel does not know how to say Solomon. Like Solo Man. And I do think that despite the divisiveness that we see on the internet, I have run into a lot of people who love Carol Danvers.
And she's great. She's a brilliant character.
Like I know, like somebody like really, really, really freaked out when she came back in Endgame and made that last minute rescue.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool. Lamar, you with that? Like Captain Marvel would win, Carol Danvers would win the popular vote.
Yeah, I think she wins the popular vote. And I haven't seen either one of those Shazam movies.
And you're a huge Shazam fan.
Yeah. It's just the material didn't appeal to me, so I just was like, I'll sit this one out.
Right. So yeah, that's another thing that I was going to point out when it comes to you. All three of us are huge Shazam fans, but when we're talking about Billy Batson versus Carol Danvers in 2023, we are talking about the 2023 versions in the comics.
Yeah.
And as we speak, there's only been 2 issues written by Mark Waid. And it's and everything else since the New 52 has been leaning very heavily into, magic ex machina stuff.
Yeah.
But and Carol Danvers's powers have been very, very well defined, and Kelly Sue DeConnick has had such a great run on her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much what we're looking at.
And I think oh god, sorry.
No. Go ahead. You good?
Sorry, I was just thinking the emphasis in the comic up until now, up until Wade's run, since Jeff Johns kind of revamped Billy, has been that like he needs his family, he needs the
Yeah.
Shazam family around him, and that's very much the sort of emphasis of the movie
Yeah.
as well. Is that he's not as effective on his own. So if he's on his own up against Carol,
Oh, he's dead.
yeah.
Oh yeah, he done. He done. Yeah. He's super done. Like it's no question. Yeah.
I don't think I like that approach. I mean, this is another podcast altogether. I don't think I like that approach for Billy. I don't that he's so dependent on his family. But that's another topic for another time.
Yeah.
Match number 15 is TV show Starlet versus TV show Starlet. Courtney Whitmore, Stargirl versus Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan. I think Kamala Khan wins the popular vote. Marvel is sweeping the popular votes here, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I want Courtney to win just because, like, I was there when her series debuted, and I always really liked her in JSA and stuff. I have to say, I haven't even seen a single episode of her TV show. Nostalgic reasons, I would want Courtney to win.
I really like her TV show. I mean, I loved Kamala's TV show as well, but I love Courtney. I like all the comics she's in. I loved her TV show. She's all right in Smallville, I guess. But
she was in Smallville, wasn't she?
Smallville, yeah. But
it's like really every time I tell people that Gwen Stacy was in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and they're like, "Wait, what?"
I just, based on personal bias, I would want Courtney to win, even though I love Ms. Marvel too. But yeah, Ms. Marvel wins the popular vote.
I think Lamar's going to agree with us because Courtney is a member of the JSA.
Hey, listen, even if she wasn't, I'd agree with it because when you talk about like new characters that have like come along in the past 30 years or so, she's actually one of the better characters, even though she's one of the she's not as well known as the others.
She's great.
Yeah, she's a fantastic character, and they haven't done a lot of drastic stuff with her, so she's been really consistent as a character. So you kind of know what she's about now. And so I do think she definitely loses the popular vote. And yeah, I definitely would want her to win that particular fight, because that, and Kamala Khan is great, but she has the cosmic rod. It's like, when you talk about a weapon, there are very few things in either universe that a human being could wield, and it's on the level of like Thor's hammer, and all of the other stuff you could compare it with. So I think she's just kind of outclassed when it comes to that.
I was gonna say she has the better weapon.
Yeah.
The fight would have to come down to Kamala trying to take that weapon away from her. It's the only way she wins. So I think, even though we all prefer Stargirl, because she's been around longer. I do think it is backed by the fact that we all do think she should win. Number 16. We switched the magicians around. Anyone else would say Dr. Fate versus Dr. Strange, but we went with Dr. Fate versus the Scarlet Witch. The Lord of Order versus the Chaos Magician. Once again, Marvel is winning the popular vote.
Yeah.
And that is not close. But who would win this one, guys?
I think Dr. Fate, because Order versus Chaos, Wanda's just too chaotic, and in the end Dr. Fate's the one who would who has the strategy and who has the plan. So I think Dr. Fate would win, and he looks cooler. I love Dr. Fate.
I think, you know, if we show what happened in JLA Avengers, where she goes to the DC Earth and her powers get so much stronger to the point where she can barely wield it, because in the DC universe, order and chaos are stronger than they are in the Marvel universe. So it would, like, she does end up becoming more powerful, but she also ends up with less control over it. Who do you think wins this one, Lamar?
Yeah, I think Dr. Fate wins this one pretty handily.
Handily,
and
really?
yeah, because of what you just said.
Okay.
You know, she wouldn't be able to really use the power like that. You know, even like when you go like to DC, like her, she'd be more powerful, yes, but her control over it wouldn't be there. But like it just in her Marvel version, like the no more mutants thing or whatever, you know, that wouldn't work like with Dr. Fate. You know what I mean? He'd be like, man, you gotta have to give me something else. This ain't cutting it, right? It's just because just the power scale is different, you know, and you're talking about a person, you know, when you know, like the helmet is like the thing. It's another one of those things, you know, as far as a weapon, right? Um, that kind of stuff he never has to worry about. And when it comes to like being out of balance or not being able to wield the power and stuff like that. And I think that ultimately because of the helmet, he'd be able to deal with anything she threw, you know, that she threw at him.
Having said that, who is Dr. Fate right now in the comics? This is 2023. We're using 2023 Dr. Fate. Who is he?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name. That's really bad.
Is he a new character?
He is a new character.
Yeah.
Bear with. I'm going to look him up. I can't remember it. He's so new, I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. What's the guy's name now?
Wait, so we're having a new character beat Wanda Maximoff?
Yep.
Because he's got Naboo talking to him, hasn't he? See?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he's
It's
got
not just
all
him. Yeah.
Still be the helmet of Naboo. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She still got to deal with that, you know. But so
Khalid
that's
Nasur.
yes, it's Khalid, yeah. Which, you know, he was Dr. Fate before like the new 52 thing. And then like I guess they just kind of picked it up, you know, from that, and they, you know, made him Dr. Fate again. Because a lot of it, you know, his history is kind of convoluted, like in the past 20, 30 years. So they left it, you know, with him.
Oh yeah, is he Hector Hall? Is he dead again? Is he Kent Nelson? Is she Inza Nelson? Yeah, interestingly, I think the way that comic would play out would be similar to Kamala versus Courtney. Wanda would keep trying to remove that helmet. Ooh, what if she wears the helmet?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, if she put the helmet on, it's a problem. You know,
She puts the oh, this is what would happen. Like she puts the helmet on, and then if she wins, it's because she can control the helmet. If she doesn't win, it's because the helmet is like order and she's chaos. And she breaks down. One of the best drawn amalgam books was Dr. Strange Fate, because it was drawn by the incomparable Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. So let's move on to Doctor Strange versus Zatanna. He hits on her, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Is Doctor Strange the Hal Jordan of the Marvel Universe?
Yep.
I know he's a bit more sort of like stick up his butt than Hal Jordan, isn't he? Though,
yeah.
But
yeah. I guess Tony Stark would probably be Hal Jordan in that instance.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. So who wins this one?
I say Zatanna because she's more unpredictable than Doctor Strange. He would be like preparing himself for a sorcerer battle, you know, very serious, you know, sorcerer rules, and she'd be like pulling rabbits out of her hat and whatever, you know, and he wouldn't be able to predict what she was going to do. So I say Zatanna wins. But the popular vote, I don't know, maybe Doctor Strange based on name recognition.
Yeah, I think the popular vote once again would go to Marvel on account of exactly that.
Yeah.
Who do you think wins, Lamar?
You know, I think that like the Ditko Doctor Strange would give her a lot of problems, but 2023 Doctor Strange, I think she can handle that. And I think for the reasons that Paulie stated, like, you know, you never know what she's gonna do or how she's gonna do it. And I think she's a lot less predictable because that's just kind of how magic works in DC, you know. And the people who are really, really good at it, like, you know, a lot of it comes down to just how they do things personally, right? So somebody like her, because I think they actually they made it where, like, you know, she doesn't have to say words backwards to do the spells. It's just for her concentration. You know, that's like a whole nother level of you know, magic wielding, right? Where you can just say stuff backwards and have the stuff pop up. And I don't think that that's something that the 2023 Strange could deal with. At least not in a decisive battle, like winner take all type thing. I don't think that's something I think she'd be a little too much for him. But I do think that he wins the popular vote. And a lot of it comes down to the actor that's portraying him in the movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that dude is Doctor Strange, you know. Yeah, so it's like it's no question about it. Like the
Absolutely.
casting for that was excellent. So you know, we can go back and forth on the quality of the movies, but you know, but yeah, he definitely wins the popular vote.
Okay. We're down to our last two fights. But before we get to our last two fights, I'm going to say we had two magic users here. We didn't put in, we have two fights with magic users. We didn't put in arguably the most popular magic user that either universe has. So if we were to insert John Constantine into this whole thing, who would he fight? Does he have any Marvel counterpart at all?
Oh,
Is there anyone? Would it be the Silver Surfer and he's trying to tempt him throughout the whole thing? Like a little devil?
who is that guy Paul Cornell created?
The one for
I can't-
Excalibur? The one who is clearly a Don Constantine ripoff?
Pete Wisdom.
I mean, that's like saying we should pick Hyperion to fight Superman, though.
That's true.
But you know what though? I do think him fighting Silver Surfer, that's actually would be a dope thing to see. Yeah, I think that would actually be fly. Like, I don't know how it would go, but just the idea of John Constantine and Silver Surfer interacting like that, I just think that would be fly.
If we put that in, that is the single most talky comic of all of these comics.
Absolutely. You better pack a lunch because you talking about a 32-page comic. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of dialogue.
So much talking. You know, the maximum number of words per balloon is 35. 35 every time.
In every balloon, 35 words.
In every
I
panel.
feel like Kevin Smith could beat that.
Oh, for this right here, if Kevin Smith wrote this, there would be footnotes at the bottom of the comic.
Not sure he's the right person to be doing John versus Norrin, though.
Definitely not. Yeah.
I love it though. It's like the most noble character in the in the Marvel universe versus a complete bastard. Like...
I love it. I love it. Maybe if we add that in, it will bring us to 20 fights. So we would have to put in another one. So we'll put that in later.
Okay.
Catwoman versus Daredevil.
It'd be close for the popular vote, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Catwoman.
But I think Catwoman does win.
Yeah, and Catwoman. Yeah, Catwoman definitely wins for me. Like, you know, DC needs a win, so it's got to be Catwoman.
Yeah, I think Catwoman wins that.
Like, because Matt's his own worst enemy at the end of the day. So who's better at grabbing defeat from the jaws of victory?
No, it is actually Matt. That's true.
Yeah,
like he is a better fighter than Selena. But
he is a better fighter, but he messes things up for himself all the time. So
yeah, it's not so much that she would win, it's that he would lose.
he would screw up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like how, you know, in boxing, like styles make fights, right?
Yeah.
So like for Daredevil, Catwoman is the last person he wants to have in front of him in a fight like that. You know, just because, like, you know, it just it's just like she capitalizes on when people mess up. She does that constantly. She beats people that she probably shouldn't beat because of that. And this is the guy that does this beyond compare. So it's like, yeah, that's like a terrible mismatch on his part.
Let's not forget that, you know, his biggest weakness is Elektra.
Yeah. And what does the sound of a cat o' nine tails cracking do to his super senses, you know, or a whip cracking away there? What does that do to his super senses, like, you know?
I like it. Catwoman wins this one.
Yay.
All right. Spider-Man versus Robin.
This
I
is
think-
Miles and Damian, yeah.
I think Miles wins the popular vote now.
Yeah.
If we had done this before Spider-Verse came out, like maybe, you know, before 2018, 2019, whatever it was, then Robin would have won Damian. But I think Miles wins the popular vote now. I don't think that's close. But who wins this fight? Because we are talking about the most cunning, the most underhanded, the biggest bastard
Yeah.
who is and I can say that because he actually is. Of a teen sidekick that's ever existed.
Just Miles is too good and too naive, you know, compared to Damien, relative to Damien. He's he wouldn't be prepared for just how much of a dick Damien would be like, you know.
So Miles has him completely outclassed when it comes to power, but
yeah,
Damien, I think, would be so over prepared for him.
Yeah. And invisibility means nothing to a guy trained by ninjas, right?
That's true.
So Miles's invisibility power would be useless.
We on board with that, Lamar? We like Damien's gonna
I'm on board.
Okay. I could count up the votes now, or we can talk about Constantine versus the Silver Surfer some more.
I think we got to have that, right?
All right. So we've got the Surfer versus versus the Hellblazer.
Yeah.
So Space Jesus versus the Hellblazer.
Yes.
In this most talky of comics, where there would not be a single punch thrown, who would win?
I think John would win because he would trick the Surfer, or he would talk the Surfer into despair. And I think John would win the popular vote too.
I actually do think John would win the popular vote.
Yeah, he definitely wins the popular vote. Yeah. You know, but
DC winning the popular vote. Wow, DC winning the popular vote.
Oh, yeah, DC definitely wins the popular vote on this one. It's kind of like it's almost by accident. You know what I mean? But yeah, I you know, I kind of like in my head, I'm thinking, okay, how long is it going to take the Silver Surfer to just be like, you know what, man? Even I don't pity myself this much to listen to this and just fly off. Like, how long does it take for that to happen? You know?
I'm actually with you. I don't think he would end up falling for whatever John was peddling at him. You know, he's been manipulated by Mephisto. Although John is still better.
Yeah, I think John would talk him into flying into a black hole or something. Like, you know, you would trick him into thinking that flying into a black hole is something he really has to do.
So I think Lamar and I vote for the Surfer on that one, and you vote for John. But we all agree that John would win the popular vote anyway.
Yeah.
Now that's 20 fights. I could count this up, or we could come up with 21 in case there's a tie.
Oh, so we need someone. This is because this is a bonus. We should get two really obscure characters. Just
Oh,
silly characters.
Okay, if that's the case, because I was thinking like we need to get somebody to fight John Kent, but
Oh, okay.
if you'd rather do that, I'm fine with picking two very obscure characters.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So who have we got in terms of obscure character?
Okay, we are back from our break, and after much deliberation, we have decided that the 21st fight will be on the DC side, Detective Chimp, and on the Marvel side, the one and only Howard the Duck. I actually think Detective Chimp would win, but Howard the Duck would win the popular vote.
Yeah, Howard would win the popular vote. Detective Chimp is cleverer than Howard, though, so he'd win.
And frankly, a better
yeah.
character.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Detective Chimp definitely wins that. And also, in my head, when Detective Chimp talks, he sounds like y'all remember that show? Paulie, you probably know what I'm talking about. You remember that show, Lancelot Link, where they had the it was like it was a live action show with chimps, but it was like I Spy, and stuff like that. It was basically Get Smart with chimpanzees, basically. And it came out back in the 70s.
I've not heard of it, but I have to see it.
You gotta see it, bro. Look, I'm telling you, Lancelot Link, he basically talks like Agent Smart from Get Smart. That's how his voice. He sounds like Don Adams, bro. So I don't know if I need to look while I'm at it right now, because I need to see if he actually did the voice. But I don't know if he did or not. But I'm gonna look it up real quick. But I don't think he did. But basically, that's how he talks.
Lancelot Link, Secret Chimp.
Yep, that's it.
This sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's Dayton Allen. He's imitating Humphrey Bogart. That's what it is. Yeah. That's what it is. I meant to say Humphrey Bogart. I didn't mean to say Don Adams. But yeah, that's it. So when Detective Chimp talks, that's what he sounds like in my head. And it's been like that forever. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there to put y'all up on game real quick. Yeah.
You guys ready for the results?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on, DC.
In terms of who we think would win, it is actually 12 DC, 9 Marvel.
No, really? Wow.
It is actually 12 DC, 9 Marvel. I do think that we did side with Marvel in a few things, like the Invisible Woman versus Green Lantern, for example, because it would make for a better story.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that balances out with Wonder Woman versus the Hulk. The Thing beat Nightwing. That one's a close call. And Stargirl beats Kamala Khan. I think we said that was a close call too. And so on and so forth. But it's actually 12 DC and 9 Marvel. For the popular vote, it's actually not as lopsided as it looks, although it is very lopsided. It's 14 Marvel to 7 DC. So it is actually still lopsided, but I was thinking it would be significantly more lopsided. So in that case, I do think that, I mean, the original DC versus Marvel was a mix of predetermined and fan voting. And I do think that we have enough here that if they wanted to, they could decide which ones, just so like one of them wins by one. Like which ones would be predetermined, which ones would be fan voting. I think if you have to pick 5 things that the fans would only 5 fights that the fans would vote on, which ones would it be? I think it would be Superman versus Thor, Batman versus the Black Panther, Spider-Man versus the Flash, I don't think Deathstroke versus Captain America would be one.
Wonder Woman versus
Wonder
Hulk.
Woman versus the Hulk.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think the fifth one would be Spider-Man versus Robin.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
But it could also be Captain Marvel versus Captain Marvel. I could see both.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, I think we're all in agreement that it would be Superman versus Thor, Batman versus Black Panther, The Flash versus Spider-Man, Wonder Woman versus the Hulk.
Yeah.
Is our fifth one also in agreement? That would be Spider-Man versus Robin.
Yeah, because you couldn't have Iron Man versus Lex Luthor, could you? Because he's a baddie.
Yeah, that's a weird
Same
one
with
to put
Cap.
to a vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with Cap and Deathstroke.
Yeah, that's a weird one to put to a vote, I think.
Yeah.
It's weird that Cap would not be part of the vote, but that's the way a cookie crumbles.
What about Stargirl versus Ms. Marvel for the public?
I think it's very close and you could. No, you know what? Maybe it's just Nightwing versus the Thing.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nightwing versus the Thing. I can see that.
Or it's Harley versus Deadpool.
Of course it is. What am I saying? Yeah, it's Harley. It's
I'm
definitely
completely
Harley.
overthinking this. Yes, the fifth one
Yeah.
is Harley versus Deadpool.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, if we left it to just those five, then the fan vote would say Superman wins, Deadpool wins, Batman wins, Spider-Man wins, and the Hulk wins. So it would once again be 3 to 5 Marvel, just like it was in 1995.
Here we go.
Well, this
so
was
Marvel
fun.
wins. Yeah.
So Marvel wins
Mhm.
again. Well, I do think that if we did DC versus Marvel in 2023, put it up to a vote, and Marvel doesn't win in a vote where casual fans are taking part, I do think it would be disingenuous.
Absolutely. But I wonder if we did this again in, like, say, 5 years, when, you know, James Gunn has rolled out the new DCU stuff. I wonder, I'm not saying it would, but would it be any different? I wonder.
True, because the MCU has pretty much plateaued and in a way has not really been the same since Endgame. People have been talking about superhero fatigue, but I also think a lot of it is MCU fatigue. Not me personally, because I don't really care.
Not me.
Not me.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't care. Like, to me, like, this is my secret, guys. The MCU's done, and it's been done since 2018. Everything else is a bonus. After Endgame, everything else is a bonus. You're not gonna see it again. It doesn't matter how much they try to connect these new things. It's not going to be as good as Infinity War and Endgame. It's over. Enjoy what you're getting while you're getting it.
That's a bombshell to drop. That is.
Nah, that's true. That yeah,
No,
and
I agree.
it's true.
I agree.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Yeah.
Well, this is what I've always said about, you know, the Snyder Cut to the fans, of that, you know, this shouldn't exist. Why aren't you enjoying it more? Why aren't you appreciating it more? You know, this is never mind wanting more. You're lucky you have this. Love it, worship it. You know,
it's yours. Enjoy the things that exist. There will be more things that you will fall in love with in your lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, this was fun.
Absolutely. So I guess we need to urge everyone to let us know in the comments what you guys think. Do you agree with our matches? Do you agree with who would win? Have we left anyone out?
Am I wrong for leaving out Jonathan Kent, and I really should have just had Miles fight Jonathan Kent? Who would Jonathan Kent have fought? Who would
Oh,
Jonathan
we're gonna
Kent have fought? Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh yeah. We gonna hear about it now. Trust me, they coming. They coming.
Hyperion,
Yeah.
Gladiator. Just name all of these Superman analogs that you can think of. Click like, share, and subscribe, and let us all know what you think in the comments. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, guys.